Stay where you are. Stay glued to your television. Don't go where you want as we continue. From my far left today, as usual, you have our discussants who are analysts and people you love to listen to. And from my far left, I have Honorable Tony Abanyim. Honorable Tony Abanyim has been a legislator, one of the founding members of PDP in those days, who was also a lawmaker in the local government. Honorable, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you, our viewers.
After him, I have Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi. Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi is a known historian and a political affairs analyst. He's a man who deals with numbers, figures, and dates. He's also a televangelist. Comrade, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me join you in this great show. Good day, viewers.
All right, today, the United States Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has announced that the United States, that they have imposed visa restrictions on specific individuals who undermined the democratic process during the Nigerian 2023 elections, though the names are not here yet. I want to start with you, Honorable. For America to talk about visa restrictions on some Nigerians who undermined the democratic process, especially that of the just concluded presidential and Guba elections. What is your take on that? Is it worth doing?
Well, it's a welcome development. I appreciate it. One side, it has brought to the table, to the fore, that the 2023 election was actually rigged. So, what America have, what they've pronounced is very heartwarming. It's very applaudable. That statement, since last night I got it, I said to myself, what it means is that definitely something has started. America has started something and they will not stop midway. If the 2023 election was rigged and they are placing sanctions on people that were involved, it means we are heading to somewhere. What it means is that the list of those that are barred from coming to America is endless. It will continue. Because by the time anybody pronounces an endorsement of 2023 election, you understand, an endorsement of the result of 2023 election, the person is inclusive of that list. So America should have that in their mind. The judiciary workers and judges and all that, they should also be careful, because it has been pronounced globally now. It's now an open thing. It's now a global issue that 2023 election was rigged. Then, let's look at it this way. If some people have been shortlisted as having been what I can describe as American government have penciled them down as what I can call persona non grata, those that are not allowed into American state. Why can't we, if America is democratic, if they are open, what is wrong in naming somebody who committed an offense? What is wrong in telling Nigerians, in telling the whole world, so that everybody will learn, so that everybody will copy, so that our youths, all of us who will occupy one position or the other tomorrow, will learn from this, hammer that is going to, that is landing on those corrupt leaders, from the security agencies that were involved, to the umpires that were involved, to the politicians that were involved in those illicit activities. What is wrong in America telling us in black and white? Look at it, because if it is left, we are left in the blank. What it means is that actually it may also end up like the old stories we used to have, because this is not the first time America is telling us, oh, this other person and the other person who did this and that. Anybody who is involved in this and that will not be allowed into America. At the end of the day, no names mentioned, and before you could know it, you see them traveling to America. Then yourself, who was actually the man, who was actually the culprit America told you? Time we heard it in 2015. who had it, and this is 23. And America is coming with the same old story. Who is that man, so that we can know who is this electoral criminal?
All right. According to Mr. Anthony, he also said that they remain committed to supporting Nigerian, aspirations to strengthen democracy and the rule of law in the country. Comrade, the last time I remember when we talked about this, you also reminded us of one judge who was involved in the Imo State
yes, the
judge
Imo
that
State
brought
case, yes.
Ozodinma,
Yes.
as the governor of Abia State.
Yeah.
And so now that this announcement has come, though today in the radio some names we mentioned, but I'm sure Americans never mentioned them.
Yeah, they
so
did
what's
not.
your take on this?
Yes,
You mentioned names should be speculations.
Yes,
Yes, that's speculation.
yes, they did not actually say who and who were on the list, but they only said the list itself actually cuts across various political actors, both people who were working in cahoots with politicians, then security agents who had actually undermined or truncated the democratic process as long as 2023 elections are concerned. Let me begin by saying that elections don't happen in isolation. There are stakeholders in every country where there is democracy or where there is election. You understand? There are stakeholders, there are participants, there are players, there are key actors who supervise this election, who observe, who monitor. Whether you want to talk about state to state level, whether you also want to look at it from the global level. The election we are even talking about was actually observed by both the EU, the United Nations, ECOWAS, AU, then by embassies and high commission, that's missions of certain countries. Our American embassy observed and monitored this election. The British High Commission also did the same thing. Canadian High Commission did the same thing. Australian High Commission did the same thing. ECOWAS sent a monitoring team, you understand? The same thing with AU. That's to tell you that they are monitoring and they are gauging the democratic growth of Nigeria. So anything done there to that may limit or that may send Nigeria backward, they should actually frown at such. And if you ever see that this same America, the government of Joe Biden has yet to congratulate Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So it is part of the policy of consistency on the part of America to say no. As far as 2023 elections were concerned, there were issues that actually marred the process to the extent that the winner didn't convincingly win the way we would have loved him to win. You understand? Now, remember also that there are also fresh revelations during the election. For example, Premium Times reported that Peter Obi actually won in Rivers State. And now an independent research carried out by BBC is saying that the election was actually rigged. I'm putting BBC, and independent research there say the election was actually rigged. Now, if you look at ECOWAS recommendations, they said Nigeria should work towards building its democratic process. And then virtually all the players and actors who monitored the election believe that there were challenges and then bottlenecks and then hiccups as they may have to do with the election. So that being said, I think what America is doing is still following the path of consistency, saying we believe in democracy and we are actually the world policeman, and then the number one democratic exemplary. So we feel that the election conducted in Nigeria that produced Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not reflect with our own teammates, with the world to believe, because they are also our partners and allies in democracy, and that is what that statement actually said. And now, if you understand very well, you see that America has a way it reaches out to its allies, partners. It can say that a country or a government is a rogue one. It can actually say a state is a failed state and limit the way it relates with them. So what America is doing now is to tell you that yes, we have monitored this election and we do not believe, you understand, that this election is the best. After all the promises made by INEC, after all the money we spent in billions of naira. So INEC, America is saying this election does not really reflects the wishes of the people. But then to answer the question, Honorable Razor, he said something about the electoral processes of when we can begin to punish electoral offenders. It will take us back to the recommendations made in Uwe's report committee. Uwe's report committee was so elaborate. In fact, it was so detailed. It said, let Nigeria establish what it called Election Offenses Commission. But today, due to the inability or the lack of political will on the part of Goodluck Jonathan to implement that report, including the 2014 confab report, we are here. We are still here. So politicians still, with reckless abandon, break our laws, undermine democratic processes, even truncate it to the extent that we are still asking, which is the way forward.
All right, Honorable. Talking about these visa restrictions, and also remember that though the President of America has not congratulated the President-elect yet, but in Britain, they've done that. The United Kingdom have done that. So what do you think are the supposed outcome if these restrictions are carried out on some personalities in this country?
What will it stop? It will stop nothing. Because there are other places to travel to. They stopped Abacha from coming to UK and America, and he was going to China and Saudi Arabia and Japan. So what are you saying? To me, it makes no meaning. To me, it won't stop anybody who wants to do anything. Nigeria is a sovereign state, and whether Biden congratulates Tinubu or not, what I know is that on 29th of May, because of the warnings and letters in the ground note, you can't do nothing about it. Nothing will change it. The Electoral Act did not specify, it was not specific in saying nobody should be sworn in until the tribunal cases are over.
Yeah.
It is not in our constitution. So anybody is going about trying to say, oh, on that day we're going to demonstrate, we'll march to Abuja, we'll do this, you're on your own. And P2B is not desperate to be president of Nigeria. P2B is well made. P2B is contented. P2B is a self-made man. I don't know what to describe him with, because no matter how bad it is, whether it is global recession or harsh economy in Nigeria, P2B will be as poor as 1 billion naira. And the man that has 1 billion naira in his account in Nigeria, my brother, at his age of 60, don't need too much again to live with. So let me tell you that the visa restriction of Nigerians will not change anything. It's not the first time we're hearing it, and I don't know why it should take our media space.
Okay, comrade, talking about these visa restrictions, and don't you think this is going to help the judiciary, to sit up? Because like we discussed here last time, you discovered that the 5-man panel, these judges who are sitting on this presidential election tribunal, you don't have anyone from the southeast.
Exactly.
And the chairman is from the southwest, where Tinubu comes from.
Yeah.
And so then the other one from the north central, and the southwest.
Yes.
And then there is no person there. Don't you think this is one of the reasons why these visa restrictions is coming, to warn them to be careful with what they are doing?
Yes, the reason why the visa restrictions are coming is because America believes it has a way, you understand, of shaping influence or shaping or influencing political outcomes in allied countries. For example, Nigeria and America have been allies since independence, and you can't wish that away. The fact there is that some of these politicians have their children schooling in America. Some of their children also are also living there, even when they do not live in America by themselves. It is hard to mention a politician who doesn't have a house in America. Virtually all of them have a house in America. So if you are on that list, it simply means those American consumptions, those things that take you to America, maybe shopping. And I know of a politician who, prior to the election, was actually sharing pictures of where they, so if you should be on that list, to a great extent, a part of his or her life, is now being affected, because I know that Nigerians, we can't take it away from them. The two places, America and the Britain, is where they are. It's either for medical reason or for one reason or the other, or for education of their children, or for even living there, you understand? After undermining or after running down our infrastructure, after running down government, after creating poverty, they like to live there. And I should think, if other countries like United Kingdom, where these persons go to treat themselves for maybe ear problem or tooth problem, then Australia, Canada, even UAE, if they should tag along, that will actually do something here. You understand? Because I don't understand why politicians are in the habit of piling loot abroad. You understand? Keeping their children there to school, including America. So if these other countries want to make example of how they love Nigeria and how they wish how to grow, because mind you, all this migration, people are living here every other day, going to these other countries, it may not actually be spelling good for them all the times. So if they actually intend to help, it is to us to come up with policies like this. If, for example, there is a military coup in Nigeria, in Mali. Okay, there was a military coup in Mali, Burkina Faso and elsewhere. Nigeria did not extend hands to say we are checking you. You understand? Nigeria played that big bro by actually joining ECOWAS and other and EU to say we are saying that this government is illegitimate and we are not according any diplomatic recognition on it until certain things were done, and then we now saw some engagement. So if there is election, in fact, rigging election is also a coup. It's a coup against democracy. So I think America and the rest of them, those who feel they are the watchdog of democracy globally, should actually rise to the occasion and speak up.
All right, Honorable, following what Comrade said concerning other nations of the world, in making sure they also impose same restrictions, do you think that will help what we are doing? Take for instance the United Kingdom.
Yeah, France and the rest of them.
And so many of them, France and so on.
Let me tell you that the only interest of the international community throughout Europe, entire Europe and America, in Nigeria is economy. Listen, let me tell you, if by the time we are leaving this studio, you tune in your radio and hear the martial music, my brother, the next thing America will do, they will look at it very critically. America and Britain, they will look at it very critically and listen to the address of the coup plotters. And what they will ask, the next question they will ask them, when are you handing over to civilian administration? And they will tell you, oh, we came to chase away those criminals, those corrupt politicians, those 10%ers, they've done this, they've done that, and we are setting up a transition program that will last for, they will just give you a mouth-watering promise. 3 months, America will say, okay, good and fine. Do you know why they will do that? Because as soon as those guys make their government takeover announcement, you see people on the street with green leaves supporting them.
Yes.
So this international community will say, well, we have to be in the middle now, because we've seen that the country is not burning down. Rather, some people are on the street supporting them. And this other one, probably politicians that have interest and carry money, those politicians, we can only see them in the media. So what America and Britain will always do is to protect their economic interests, no matter who is governing. They have America alone in Mobile, they have over $20 billion investment in Akwa Ibom, in Mobile. Britain and Netherlands, they have over 20 billion pounds investment in Shell. France, they own Shell, what do you call it, ELF and all that. That runs into $1 billion, French franc. So, anything you want to do for your country, particularly in this part of the world, do good about it. If you are given governance, if you are given any position of trust, try and see what you can do to fix place. If you burn it up, they will come here and sell their weapons, and that is also an economic interest. So if you think that probably America, Britain and France and Australia are also placing a ban on, they will find another route of where to go. Abacha was stopped from coming to America and Britain, and he was busy starting money out to Malta. So at the end of the day, there are certain islands you will hear, you will say, you will find it, you will check in the world map, you will see them. Abacha was also going there. Then when you ask about why they are routing their engagements, to the West, because they have taken a critical look on this country, that this country was wired not to work. The country is like a golden knot. Listen, let me tell you, go up, even if P2B becomes president tomorrow, at the end of all his promises and all the good promises he made and all that, giving us hope in his election promises, by the time he gets into Aso Rock, he will tell you a different story. Buhari later made some assault and told Nigeria, this thing these guys are saying, and they promised that too. And look at Tinubu, his own will, because he didn't tell us anything. Tinubu was busy blabbering, kind of jesting on the podium during his campaign, and never told us any concrete thing. On campaign podium, you see him shouting, Buhari, Buhari. The other day, you hear him shouting, Obi, Obi. So what did the man tell you during the election? Nothing during the campaigns, nothing. So he can't hold responsible for anything. So they all know that this country is not workable. What are we saying here? Look at Rwanda yesterday. 1994, they were busy killing themselves. Today, Rwanda is the fastest growing economy in Africa. We fought civil war about 50 years ago or more. Yet we are still in Morocco. We can't do nothing. Without the, what do you call it here, the inverter and the solar, you can't function here. You can imagine in the 21st century, a commercial town that was established over 100 years ago, like Aba, for 2 good months, blackout everywhere. Can it happen anywhere? Can it happen in Ghana? Even in Cotonou that we are selling power to. Can you do that? That is a place that is not wired to work. A place where monkeys swallow money. A place where snake will leave animals and ants that they eat as food and start eating money, swallowing money. Where does it happen in the world? A place where somebody will be owed 6 months, 1 year, 25 months salary. Where does it happen in my brother? I have said several that what happens in this country cannot happen anywhere in the world. Even the devil, the Satan himself, we know, we are told, there's existence somewhere. That's as evil as anything, the chief of all evil. What Nigerians does between the man on the street to the president, even Satan will not do it. Because what the devil requires from you is to make the necessary sacrifice, and he will give you what you want, no matter the consequences.
All right, comrade, before we shortly go on break, still talking about these restrictions and so on, and about traveling, talking about restrictions.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about the president of this country traveling to London because of toothache. And then it looks as if it is now a tradition by the ruling class that if you don't travel out,
the so-called incoming have also started. He's not even in the country.
So what then? How are we going to grow our health sector if it continues this way?
Yes, it is unfortunate that the president's travel happened at about the same time when the medical personnel were actually threatening strike. When they were, in fact, they issued a threat 2 weeks. To the federal government.
But they were still in session before
to implement certain conditions. But I did say here that the first time the president left the shores of this country as an elected president in 2015 was for ear problem. Yes, now he is concluding it, seemingly he's concluding it with a teeth problem that he's leaving the shores of the country. I begin to ask if these politicians are eating, let's say they are eating, and the food goes wrong way, maybe something chokes them. You see that they are flown abroad. President Umahi was busy attending medical appointments in Germany. From there, he became Saudi Arabia. Look at them, President Buhari today is in London. But this is a man who was criticizing Umahi and he said that the president's medical budget should not actually cover the cost of being treated abroad. But today, at the point, he stayed abroad for over 100 days, counting. You understand? In 2018, precisely. So, the problem we have is that we have not been able to build our domestic institutions, but we prefer to glorify institutions built abroad, including those ones in the West. And that is why I did say that if the West concertedly come together to say we are partners. Why I say this, because some of these countries, in fact, the countries I mentioned, they observe Nigeria's election. They are our partners, and they provide some certain support. It may not be monetary for INEC. They provide, in fact, leverage for civil society groups, press groups, and media houses and the rest of them, to make sure that the democratic process is consolidated. So if you have a mission like Canadian High Commission, British High Commission, these are people who monitor this election, who bring out money to monitor this election, to get report and report back to their countries. So if they are actually desirous of helping the institution of democracy to grow in Nigeria, it's not beyond them to say we are also checking the activities of some politically exposed persons, because we need here election that was characterized by ethnic profiling, election where markets were bombed because people perceived to be operating in those markets were non-indigenous, elections where people stood before the camera and threatened other citizens not to come out and vote, elections where people, in fact, where even INEC itself contracted a company, gave a contract of printing sensitive materials to a company allegedly owned by Binani, the same woman who exhibited I wouldn't know what in Adamawa State. We are talking about elections where INEC went against its own regulations, where INEC went against its own guidelines. So these are the things we should actually be trying to stop from repeating themselves again.
All right, our wonderful viewers, we are going to go on a very short break. When we come back, issues of the moment will continue. Don't go away. Keep watching Living Television. As we get back, we'll be looking at Ebonyi people as claimed that they are marginalized, and also from the governor of the state himself, Umahi. So don't go away. We'll soon be back. Our wonderful Nigerians and our lovely viewers, we are happy you are still there watching your favorite television. And I'm also sure you are enjoying today's program, Issues of the Moment. We've talked about the United States restrictions, visa restrictions on some Nigerians. Right away, we are going over to Ebonyi State, where the governor of the state has claimed that they are marginalized, not just marginalized, by other Igbos. And also the allegation that most of the killings in Anambra, they came all the way from Ebonyi State. He has refuted that. All right. Governor Dave Umahi says Ebonyi State will never be part of Biafra due to the marginalization and slavery its people has suffered in the hands of other Igbos. Ebonyi will never be part of Biafra because of the marginalization and slavery that the Ebonyi State people had been subjected to over the years by their Southeast brothers. That is what Umahi said. Let me start with you, Honorable.
It's very possible Dave Umahi is not a student of history. You don't even need to go to school to be a student of history. The little things I know, my father as a teacher told me. In the 70s, during those days of Umahi second,
yeah,
and there's some back. Brother, when some of us we are still living in poverty and underdevelopment, when we are still not well informed, Agom Eze from Ebonyi State, from Onitsha local government, was the Commissioner for Education. If I had any, what I can describe as impediments in pursuing my education and all that, that was the story my father told me. Each time I asked him about my school fees, he would tell me, oh, Agom Eze is a good line. Agom Eze is a good line. And later on, Chigozie Ogbu became commissioner for, I'm talking about juicy position, commissioner for health in the old Igbo state. Those I can remember. And later, the first governor of Abia is a man from Ebonyi State. Those I can remember. So what is he saying? Those days, Animude of BCA, who was director of BCA, Ureu, all of us know about him.
yes.
Later became a senator, probably in the Ebonyi State. You know, so how can he say, and because of the belief we have in them, all of us stayed back and refused to go to farm because we know that they farm very well. They have their rice abakeleke, but you will always ask about it. No matter what anybody tells us about trying to, claim to be a white man, we are not. Rice, that abakeleke rice is still very nutritious, better than what we can get from Thailand and all the rest of it. We are still they are still there. We are still patronizing them. How many communities in Igbo land produces rice? If we are marginalizing them, we could have gotten into every other thing. Does it mean we are weak, we are lazy, we can't farm? But because our brothers from Ebonyi State, from Abakaleke, are good farmers, we decided to allow them to do all of that. So what is he saying here? Good number of them they are into what I can call those days when you want to buy meat, in the slaughterhouses, you definitely ask about an Abakaleke man. That's what they are known for. They are very decent. They have expertise in all that. So how can somebody come here to tell us now that they're not part of Biafra? Do we tell him the Biafra issue, if at the end of the day we'll get there, will take care of itself? Is he in the first place? I was in Ebonyi State the other day. As much as I like the young man, he has done very well. He has turned the place into a model state. Every community in the Ebonyi State now, from Uburu to Afibo to Eda, all of them, they are all mini urban cities. We are just celebrating one flyover here. We have about two in Uburu, a remote village. So what is he saying? We have good number of them here, living here in Aba. The man who will call vote for Jesus, Mike Okoro, is from Ebonyi State. But here in Abia, he operates as if he's from here. Nobody stops him.
That's true.
So how can somebody tell us they are being marginalized? How can somebody tell me that if Biafra comes today? Oh, actually, he's anticipating Biafra will come. He's afraid probably he abandoned his brothers and followed the Fulanis in the name of APC, what they call it. We are not against that. Political party is just a platform that will carry you into acquiring power. Nobody's after that. Nobody's angry with him. Let him go ahead. I was even supporting him to be the Senate president. His commissioner for information today is my very good friend. We interact. So let him not even go there.
Okay. The comrade.
Yes.
Yeah, recently the agitation for a Southeasterner to become the Senate president in the 10th National Assembly had been on. And then Umahi was also one of the persons who were asking for that. Recently he came out openly to announce his support for Senator Akpabio.
Yes.
And now, not any of his brothers in the South.
Yes.
Do you think, don't you think this grudge has been able to lay out is one of his reasons for not supporting his brothers or the Southeasterner to become the Senate president?
Yes, it is, clearly. And you've just, even before you asked the question, you even answered it. And I want to thank Honorable for doing justice to the whole, mentioning the people actually I had in mind, vote for Jesus and the rest of them who we know operate businesses here. And I've seen as one of us go to Anambra. There is hardly a place you go to without seeing people from that part of Igbo land, because they are considered to be hardworking, industrious, you understand, and even law-abiding, you understand. But it's unfortunate that the governor will make this kind of statement, and I don't want to take it as a blanket statement. I think it's a statement for himself because of his rules, past and present. You understand? Because it took the politicking of people like Umahi and the Rojo to first prescribe IPOB. It took the politicking of Umahi and Okorocha, the two of them, to first get IPOB prescribed, which the federal government leveraged to do what? To now declare it a terrorist group. They were the first people to declare IPOB an unlawful assembly, which the federal government leveraged to now do what? To even gazette and now even come up with unfounded law and the business law that now described IPOB as a terrorist group. That is what he is afraid of. Perhaps he is anticipating a Biafra or envisaging war. But I have this to say: the politics of Biafra is beyond him. So if he doesn't understand it, or is not even an initiate of the history thereof, he shouldn't try to dabble into yes, he shouldn't try to dabble, because from what he is saying, it is beyond him. The Biafra there has never been a time in any administration after the Biafra war that there were no agitations. In the 1960s, we saw how it happened, from the collapse of Aburi Agreement till even in 1999 return to democracy. First, we didn't have IPOB. It was Maso. From Maso, we've had other groups, splinter groups, you understand? So it is beyond him. And then his politics, his domestic politics, because there is that saying in America: we take our politics from home, we take our religion from Rome. He has taken his politics from Rome instead of taking his politics from home. That is why he's now being uncomfortable unnecessarily. So this he's talking about a state was created with respect to great men like Akane, who was the first governor of the Eastern region in the 1960s. Akane was actually there, a great man, and I can begin to name names and tell you great people, you understand, who we so much respect in this Igbo land, that we are in that association. So he even talking, I wouldn't know. This is the man. I'm talking about Akane who returned his medal to the British monarch, saying for the subjugation, for the marginalization, and for the wickedness you have exhibited towards the Biafran cause, I am returning my medal. You understand? As maybe officer of the British Empire or member of the British Empire. Now here is this man talking to me. I don't know. And I want to say this: nobody can say that the Igbo is marginalizing them in Nigeria. Let us face it. He's trying to stand the truth. He's trying to invert the truth. What position are the Igbo holding to marginalize people?
I don't know.
What position are the Igbo holding to marginalize people, including their own?
Yes.
What position?
Yes.
We are not in the military. We are not in the security apparatus of Muhammadu Buhari. We are not in the economic team. We are nowhere. So how does he mean? You understand? What does he mean by marginalization?
What was shared and
oh my goodness. I
don't know where he got that.
So that impression to me, he's just he's window dressing. He understand? He's just window dressing, diversionary talks and politics, because he knows. You understand? His politics back home here is questionable. In as much as we may say he has been able to provide infrastructure, transform and transit a Bonny state, but the politics is in fact he's even been to be given access to land and what have you to Fulani headers who are now occupying in that place and then sacking communities in the Bonny state, and he has not been able to do much. That is why he is interested. This is somebody who I know is gallivanting instead of playing a centripetal politics. He's playing a centrifugal one. He's tending away from the center. He is moving away from the center, going to going to Asorok and to the rest of them. So to me, I think he should begin to review and retrace his steps. Yes, he should begin to because if you say Ebonyi State, you are talking about a state where people like Akane and the rest of them actually came.
All right, Honorable. We know that Ogbonnayano talking about Abia State. Ogbonnayano was
the first executive governor.
First executive governor. That was almost the same. So when you talk about marginalization, every other person, every service now will begin to wonder what he's talking about. Now, do we see that as the major reason for having not talked about? He has not said anything about the release of Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes,
when they tell
as long as he has not been a pro-Biafran.
And bearing in mind, he's the chairman of the Governors Forum in the Southeast.
Yes, and you heard what my brother here said about the Imo governor himself being the first to blacklist IPOB. All of us know what IPOB was, before 2015.
Exactly.
Non-violent, and if not for age.
Even up to 2019.
If not for age, I had wanted to join. But I'm a Biafran, but I'm not a member of IPOB. I'm a Biafran. Because recently, the activities, what we were told by security agencies they are doing, if going by that, I am not a member of IPOB, but I'm a Biafran. But I saw them earlier on Asarod in Aba here, and they were very peaceful, putting on white upon white, and security men opened fire on them and killed some of them. So
armless
with their green leaves, and wearing white symbolizes peace. Green leaf symbolizes peace, and they opened fire on them and killed them. It was not given publicity.
Yes.
They played it low. So going by that very tendencies of pursuing peace, being peaceful, that was how they started. My brother, I want to tell you, I'm also a member. But if the violent side there is, if I'm to go by what the security agencies told us, IPOB being violent and all that, I'm not part of it. So therefore, Umahi, to the best of my knowledge, is very, because 13 days to today is no longer, whether he installed his son, whether he installed his wife as a governor in 13 days time, it is no longer there for Umahi. So some of them, life after power, they are all scared. That's one thing I like about Governor Ibaz, our friend here. I'm not being sentimental here, just stating the obvious. I was with him 2 weeks, about a week ago. Ibaz is very stable. He's not even feeling as if he's leaving power. He's everybody's friend. He's a street boy. You see him on the street. In 8 years, Ibaz has not sent anybody to go and slap anybody. The record is not there.
Talk less of killing.
Talk less of killing. But what I was told in about a few months ago, I went there, I was shocked what the grass people were saying about Dave. I loved them so much. I was very excited. Some years ago, I went to Ebonyi State, and it was 2000. I was in Ebonyi. It was something.
Yeah.
It was a squalor. It was unpassable, impassable, no road, no infrastructure. I traveled. I went to Onitsha local government to join my friend who is late now to be his best man, be part of his wedding in 2000. February 2000. I was the best man. My brother, getting to that junction between Enugu and heading there, the driver told everybody in that bus to pull off and make sure you use a polythene bag to tie your dress. My brother, what I went to Onitsha, Iweze, in Ebonyi State with just my boxers. Getting there, I was just as brownish as a rat. They had to bring water outside. I took bath outside before I was taken into the main bedroom to take the normal one. But today I went there some days ago when my friend, the mines for his burial. Everywhere was like, oh wow, what is going on? My brother, between Immaculate Junction and that village, Ibweze, the community in Ebonyi, on Chibweze, community in local government, I didn't meet any virgin virgin road. That in Ebonyi State, you see, he came here and borrowed this cement payment technology and improved it in Ebonyi.
Or did we borrow from him?
No, he came here and borrowed.
Because his own is so.
He came here the day OKC has flagged off the construction of Port Harcourt. I was there. He said, I'm going to borrow this to Ebonyi, and he went there and improved it.
He improved it, seriously.
So he has done well in that aspect, but the way his people talks about him, they are saying, oh, yes, this whole thing doesn't want anybody's life. it doesn't want anybody's blood. That's why what I tell my brother, Hope Uzodimma, I can't remember the last time I went to the village. Nobody goes to the village in Igbo any longer. Everybody is afraid. But go to Imo, you see infrastructure, you see sweet road between Owerri, Warehouse Junction down to Banana Junction in Olu. My brother is Sarai, says Eldorado. You can drive at night by 8 p.m. down to
I was there.
Yes,
I was there 2 weeks or so ago.
Between Assumpta Cathedral and Doki, when you close your eyes and start driving.
Even the road leading to Umkwere.
Yes, but it doesn't want anybody's blood. That's what I say.
Yes, you see, I think it's high time we begin to educate Nigerians. I think the politics of Biafra is not just about the Igbo. And then when Biafra existed, the short-lived republic that was Biafra, it did not only comprise the Igbo. There were the Anangs. In fact, although the provinces, there were the Anangs, there were the Effiks and the rest of them. But I have to say this, you see, the name itself, Biafra, is a name Nigerian government has been fighting so much to remove. You understand? To actually redact or eliminate from all the pages of history, to the extent that after the war, the Bight of Biafra now became Bight of Benin. You understand? Just to change the whole, just to change the narrative. And apart from the 20-pound and other post-war, you understand, sentimental policies that actually never allowed Igbo to buy into the real estate and then former sectors. Yet these people were able to put themselves together.
Selflessly.
That my own father told me that they called Abba here in they said the year 1980 was called Mighty 80 because it was a period of resurgence for the Igbo. But there is something about it. You see, we don't throw away our history. My own mother suffered malnourishment during that war. Now, if I see pictures of some Kwashokod kids.
Thank you, God. She was not sent to Gabon.
Yes.
Good to have seen you here.
Yes, imagine. Yes, those who were lifted to Gabon. I keep asking myself, who knows whether my mother, who would have been 13 or 12 by that time, is among these kids. You understand what I'm saying now? So we are all affected. Every family was affected. We have to talk about this history. And the restitution has to be done where necessary, including apology. But unfortunately, we don't want to go that way.
Nobody's apologizing. They're coming here to pray.
Unfortunately, again, those who even supervise the killings are now praying. They have now become prayer
warriors.
Yes, and then unfortunately, our own people who should be there talking for their people are the ones talking against the people. And I will say this one briefly before we go. You see, there was never a time IPOB started as a radical or even an armed militant front.
At all.
In the year 2015 to 2016, following his swearing in of May 29, 2015, my school, National High School, became the first place where the killings of IPOB members were actually spotlighted. I was there when I was the planning secretary for almost my memorial lecture. I went there, I saw blood on the wall, and I did a poem, Blood on the Wall. I from further findings, and I was told that these people gathered here to pray. And as at that time, they had not been proscribed. They had not been banned as a terrorist group. They gathered here to pray. And that the president or whoever, the commander-in-chief, sent military persons or military personnel, and they opened fire on them. Many died. Amnesty International was reporting. Human Rights Watch was actually writing, saying Nigeria is killing a people who have contrary political views. And until 2019, after the MNA killing, the same way again, they gathered somewhere in MNA to pray and to have meeting. The military came and spread bullets. Now these people said, no, it's only a tree that you tell. You are going to cut off and it will remain there. Since we will become endangered species, we have to do what?
Protect ourselves.
Yes, and that was the history of ESN and most of them you are hearing. But nobody is interested in this history. Unfortunately, people like Umahi, who should be speaking, you understand, just telling this youth, some of the people there are even jobless, trying to create an environment, carrying them along, even making a appeal where necessary. Because some of the people in the vanguard of this whole agitation are not even up to 30, 35, who never saw the first war. You understand? So you have to educate them, tell them the better part is in the path of peace. Let us try to do what? focus on what Ojukwu called Biafra of the mind.
All right.
But they are still playing Nigerian politics just to please Abuja, and it's unfortunate.
All right, before we go, this is just going to take us 3 seconds, just 5 seconds. I want us to look at this, maybe because of Umahi's claim of marginalization, that it was now alleged that the killings in Anambra State are masterminded by the Ebonyi State people. Umahi came out openly to say that that is a false allegation, that his people are not part of any killing. Now, because he tries to disassociate himself from the entire Igbos as a result of what he called marginalization, that is internal marginalization by his own brothers, and then it was alleged that most of the killings from Anambra, come from Ebonyi State. Just a few seconds on them.
Well, if it is a security report, it means it is based on interrogations of the suspects. You understand? Because if there is a crime here and police comes in and arrests anybody, and on interrogation you tell us you are from here and there, definitely that's how we're going to put our report. You understand? Yes. If somebody commits a crime in Aba and tells the police that he's from Ebonyi State or from Imo State, police will write his report that this group of people, even though they live here, they are from there. So I don't think it's part of it's a distorted story. That's not part of it.
Okay, comrade, also before we go,
yes.
Umahi said the allegation is false, that if any person in Ebonyi is caught killing, let the person also be killed.
I'm not interested. You see, I want to say this, and it is clear. What is happening in Anambra is state-sponsored, politically sponsored, more assassinations. You can't actually try to give the color of saying it is being sponsored or taxed or championed by this state. People, Anambra politics, right from the get-go, it's usually bloody. I'm sorry to say it on air. We are talking about a state where a sitting governor was actually abducted. A sitting governor was actually abducted, and we know the power interest in Anambra. And there was something Soludo said during the campaign. He told one of the aspirants that when you were so much interested in yes, a governor was kidnapped, people were killed. You understand? In the days of Mbadinuju, people were massacred. We could wake up in the morning.
No crime is plotted from every class.
So now they are trying to. So to me,
from inside,
I feel that what is happening in Anambra, they should look inward and find a solution. You can't tell me that those who killed Dora Akunyele's husband, those who killed many other people, understand, including Onyemelukwe, that they are coming from Ebonyi.
All right, our wonderful viewers, this is the much we are going to take today. Thank you for being there. Keep watching other programs of Living Television as we draw the curtain right now. From my far left is Honorable Tony Abanya. Honorable Tony, we are very happy to have you in our studio today.
Thank you.
And Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi, very pleased to have you around.
I'm also pleased to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you, viewers.
And this is your command, Chineduma DL signing off. Remember that other programs coming your way. Don't go away. Keep watching Living TV. Bye until come your way again tomorrow.
To go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah.